Imagine a queen with lots of power and knowledge who defied centuries-old traditions, risking everything to give Afghan women the right to study, work, and choose their paths. A woman who dared to challenge the norms only to have her legacy erased from history. This is the story of Humaira Begum, the last queen of Afghanistan who changed the fate of her nation, but of course at a devastating cost. After a coup, the queen and her family fled Afghanistan, leaving women in the country in fear and trapped within four walls. But questions arise. How did she rise from a palace-bound princess to a fearless reformer? What battles did she fight against deeply rooted traditions? And why, despite all she achieved, has Afghanistan fallen back into darkness? Stay with us until the end to uncover the lost legacy of this remarkable queen. The brave lady Humaira Begum was born in 1918 in Kabul to a noble family. Her father, a respected military officer, and her aristocratic mother ensured she received a privileged education. She grew up immersed in languages and literature, unknowingly preparing for a future that would demand both intellect and resilience. But fate had already decided her path. At 13, she married her cousin, Crown Prince Mohammad Zahir, in a traditional dynastic marriage. A year later, she became a mother of a daughter, but at 15, her world changed forever. Her life took a dramatic turn when in 1933, her father-in-law, King Nadir Shah, was assassinated. His 19-year-old son, Zahir Shah, ascended the throne, making the young Humaira the Queen of Afghanistan. She could have lived quietly in the palace, fulfilling the ceremonial role of a queen. But Humaira had bigger ambitions, such ambitions that would shake the very foundations of Afghan society. In the early years of Zahir Shah's reign, real power rested with his deeply conservative uncles. While women outside the palace were expected to wear the full-body veil, Humaira and the other royal women dressed in European fashion behind closed doors. At this time, for many Afghan women, the idea of freedom was a distant dream, but Humaira believed change was possible. The moment came in 1946 when she founded the Women's Welfare Association, the first Afghanistan organization dedicated to women's rights. It was a bold move, no doubt. She pushed for girls' education, launched the country's first women's magazine, and encouraged women to take jobs in government, banking, and transportation. Of course, not everyone was ready to welcome her vision. The conservative clergy saw her as a threat to Afghan traditions. They accused her of corrupting women and defying Islam. The backlash was fierce, yet Humaira refused to back down. Then, in 1959, she made a decision that would shake the nation. At a public event, Humaira did something shocking. She stepped outside without the veil. That was the first time when an Afghan queen had shown her face to the world. The reaction was immediate. Outraged religious leaders called for her punishment, demanding that Sharia law be enforced. But the government stood by the queen, challenging the clerics to find a single verse in the Quran that required women to cover their faces. They found none. With no religious basis for the veil, women were given the choice. Inspired by Humaira, thousands of women removed their veils. The wives and daughters of officials followed suit, and soon Kabul's streets were filled with unveiled women walking freely, which was of course something unimaginable just years before. By the 1960s, Afghanistan was transforming. A new constitution granted women the right to vote, work in government, and participate in public life. Humaira had helped change an entire society, but her triumph would not last. Invasion, civil war, and the rise of the Taliban. Then, in 2001, hope appeared on the horizon. The Taliban was overthrown and Zahir Shah was invited back to Kabul. In 2002, after decades in exile, the former king made an emotional return. Thousands welcomed him as the father of the nation. He hoped Humaira could join him soon, but fate had other plans. Just weeks before her scheduled return, Humaira's heart gave out. She died in Italy, never setting foot in her homeland again. But her final wish was granted, and she was buried in Kabul, the land she had fought for all her life. And one thing is certain, if Humaira could see Afghanistan, she wouldn't recognize it. In 2021, the Taliban reclaimed power, erasing everything she fought for. Women are once again forced to cover themselves from head to toe. They are banned from working, studying, and even speaking in public. Schools that once welcomed girls are now empty. Offices that once had female employees are silent. A nation that once took steps toward modernity has been thrown back into darkness. Humaira's name, once a beacon of progress, has been nearly forgotten, but her story is not over. So the story of Queen Humaira Begum is not just history, it is a reminder of what's possible and what's at stake. She proved that one woman's courage could change a nation, but a question still remains. Will Afghan women rise again? What do you think about this brave queen's story? Should the world remember her legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments. We are curious to know about your gentle thought. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. More untold stories are coming your way. See you in the next video.